Hello everybody. So today on this channel, I decided to make a new video specifically talking about the story that I'm making called Seven Cursed Child with the physics of magic inside of the story specifically. So let's get into it, okay? So basically, Seven Cursed Child, what is it about? Seven different children that represent seven deadly sins. Each of them have different time and location, and their story is basically just trauma. But there's also like some comedy stuff. No, they won't be suffering a lot, but at this time, I'm not gonna explain too much on this video. You get the point, okay? It's just a story that I'm making. But at the same time, I wanted it to be a special type of story. Specifically, I'm gonna make it so that it's a story mainly about physics in it too. Basically, like, making it so that it's not just random stuff. I've been seeing that in multiple anime that there's like this system where like people basically have like different type of uh, abilities and there's physics inside of them, which I found really unique. Okay, so basically, how does this physics work in the world? Well, specifically, okay, I'm really shitty at drawing a human, so this is what I was drawing. I was trying to make a regular size human, but this shit looks like he have fucking Down syndrome, maybe even mutation and shit. But okay, I gotta fix this first, okay? So basically, what I'm trying to make is basically how does magic flow through your body and how does it come? So specifically, in Seven Cursed Child, uh, mana is everywhere. You can consume it from breathing, eating, drinking, and basically like anything you do that is counting as consumption will basically count as mana. Okay. So basically, how does this work? Well, basically, if I have to draw this whole thing, it's gonna be really, really long, okay? But I won't. So I'll just draw some things that counts as mana, okay? So specifically, hold on, I gotta place the pen down. Okay. So basically, like this. This is you. You are the human over here, okay? And breathing in air and eating anything and drinking anything which counts as basically consumption will give you uh, basically mana. And what this mana does is basically very simple elements and shit. But specifically, if you can make mana, how do you release it? How do you think about it? So that's what the video is gonna be called about. Okay? I gotta move the tape that is holding the phone right now. So bear with me, okay? I gotta see the time because if it went past 15, I won't be able to post this video, which really sucks. Okay, so okay. Specifically, I'm gonna explain how does different element works, and I'm just gonna show you guys from just drawing. Okay, so basically, in the human body, all right. Uh, there's specifically areas where I can just release. Alright? So let me just like show y'all. Basically like how does this work? Give me a second. Ah shit, I messed that up. Okay. So basically how this works is basically by having different kinds of areas of the body, basically making it so that it use your body to do shits. I can't really focus on talking while doing this shit, okay? I'm sorry, okay? But specifically, how it works is that you gotta release the mana from your body after consuming shits so that you can at least have like the ability to basically like have using the power that you just can gain from eating and shits. So the most simplest way that I can explain it by showing you how it works is that your belly stores the mana basically, because it really makes sense, because every single body part that consumed goes into your stomach. Drinking, eating, or even breathing, it goes to your stomach or basically through like over here. Okay? So after you consume this, you basically have the ability to just release it from your fingers or your feet. Alright? Basically your toes and your fingers. But how does that work? Well, okay. Let me explain. So basically, the simplest element that you can make from mana is basically water, earth, and wind. Those are the only things that you can do right now, because specifically, there's this thing in science where things goes to process, where solid object goes to liquid, liquid turns to gas, but if gas turns backward, there's gonna be a different name for it. I forgot, but bear with me, okay? It's basically just that type of science to understand. This is the simplest magic that you can do, because magic requires imagination. If you release those mana from your fingers, which are invisible to the human eye and nobody can see it, that basically makes it so that you cannot see it, but there is a way to detect if there's mana, okay? So basically, if you release mana, there's gonna be a feeling like a wave of energy, which is basically mana, and that energy can turn into any one of the ones that I've already explained, okay? It can turn into liquid at the start, it can turn into solid at the start, and it can also turn into gas at the start, okay? When it makes water, basically what it does is basically just having water float on top of your hand. Basically something like this, okay? Uh, that's basically the hand. This is the water that's on your hand, okay? You can use your imagination to shape that singular ball into basically like any type of form, because it's liquid. Any type of liquid can be transformed using the power of the brain, or if the liquid wants to. But specifically in mana, how does liquid makes kids okay? How does liquid basically become useful? Well, it's on simple terms, okay? So basically, the only way you can use water is basically just thinking of shaping certain things. So basically, like if you want to make water, you just gotta release your energy and think about liquid, like water. Just think of water. What makes water water? It's liquid. It's basically able to just transform itself to any type of like shape. So basically, that ball can turn into this. That ball can turn into a ball again. That ball can turn into a square. That ball can turn into a triangle, trigram, and multiple type of shit. All right, but specifically there is limits. So, what is the limit of just water? Specifically, how is it having a limit? Specifically, it doesn't. But just look at this, okay? So basically, a water can turn into any type of ball that you can think of, even donut, even a plate. All right, anything that you can think of, a water can shape to. All right, the most simplest objects that you can make from water is this. All right, so basically, this is a donut. Okay, this is a donut. You just gotta make a circle, squeeze it, and just put your finger in the middle and make it wider. I know it sounded very sexual harassment, but bear with me, okay? The next thing is basically this. You can stretch water into like this. Just make a ball of water and just stretch it. How do you do it though? Specifically, if you make a water, you just gotta do this. Bam. Just water. Bam. But of course, in real life, it doesn't really exist. But if magic exists like this, then I'll probably try a lot of random things. But the next other thing is basically this. It's two dimension, but just imagine it into like a ball turning into a bullet. Okay? Or basically like a ball just get flattened really much. Alright? So yeah. The limit of water only limits from your imagination. If you're an artist and you can imagine certain things, like a very detailed object specifically, you can create a very detailed looking like statue or head of someone. So like yeah. But specifically, how do you use this as an object? Specifically, the amount of mana you use is the size of that water. Specifically, if I wanted to make it so that certain things into a weapon, okay? So basically, I'll draw something real quick so that you guys can get a view of what I'm seeing. Alright? So basically, if we make it so that a certain ball turns into basically uh, certain object that you can imagine, it can basically have limitless type of shit that you can think of. So basically like this, okay? If you imagine a ball of water and then just flatten it and then make a donut and then just make it so that it spins really really fast by making a gas that makes it so that it accelerates into a very fast pace. That thing has a lot of like power, okay? But the reason why I told you to make a donut is not specifically just to make it so that it looks like a destructo disc with a donut hole. For fuck's sake, don't do that shit. Okay, so overall, yeah, you now understand what I mean, okay? But specifically, how do you make things faster? Well, have you ever made a pizza before? Yeah, that's basically how. Uh, you can make water just from how you imagine the water. Alright? So, if you specifically things like, oh, what about pizza? What about donut? Basically, baking will help you understand how to use the water magic specifically like that. So if you just make it so that there's a ball of water, squeeze it, make a hole, and then spin it around really really fast like this, or basically like that, and then you throw it. Basically, you can do that by doing destructor this type of motion, but you can also just make it like this, which make it so that you can hold it and roll it. Just spin it. Just think about the object on your hand. Just accelerate at a very fast pace. And when you want to release it, you just do this. That's how you make a water wheel. Specifically, this is the only one that I can simplestly explain in a single video because the rest is kind of fucking complicated. Uh, the next video, I'll be explaining how wind or rock works, but the only person that will basically decide that is the first person that just comments like rock, water, or stone or whatever. Just say a certain element that is like on mana that you can think of. Lightning, fire, ice, everything that you can think of that is counting as element for the avatar. So yeah, that's pretty much all the video. I'm sorry if I just wasted your time because this is kind of nerdy stuff to just like learn. But overall, it's really really complicated if I have to explain the whole thing because it will probably take an hour to do all that shit. So yeah, I'm just gonna drink water because if I just talk longer than 15 minutes, my throat is gonna kill me. Okay, not literally, but it's just gonna hurt a lot. So yeah, see ya.